Okay, so I'm just setting this up as intervals, 40 seconds, 20 seconds rest. And then at the end of the 13, we'll have 4 minutes rest. And Adrian, I'm going to hopefully rely on you to just give us a 1 minute warning and we just do a re-row on it.
Yeah.
It's just a nice, simple way of setting up. So I've gone to my menu, select workout, new workout, intervals, and it's intervals time. And then the distance is 40 seconds. Seems so short. And then the rest time, you guessed it, is 20 seconds. And it's that easy. And now I'm going to open a window because it's going to be like a first in a minute.
Do all of these at rate 24. So your 40 seconds is the equivalent of a 16-stroke burst.
And it's going to sound a bit silly. Again, this is for the less experienced guys. Don't try and be a hero on the first one, particularly the first couple of strokes. Just squeeze it out. You know, if you're in a boat and you try and throw everything that first stroke, it's like a washing machine. It's pointless. You just got to squeeze it and get the flywheel moving and then get into the groove. How are we going, Aid?
When you're ready, basically, it's exactly 6:30 right now.
Oh, good. Like punctuality. Okay, if we're all good, we're all good. So, oh no, hang on a second. Sorry, my cat's just coming in the window. Come here, come on. Okay, folks.
The perils of homework.
This is Mackerel. He's a lovely cat, but he's now going to go back out the other rest of the house. This will be a short intermission. I'll be back in about 10 seconds.
And this is all being recorded for posterity.
Young Mackerel, our cat, is part of my digital footprint. Right, as you were, just ignore that. Hey, do you want to count us down?
Yeah, I'll give you a 10-second countdown. Everyone get ready.
Thanks,
here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Long and patient. Only on 24. I focus on using the whole body to move the flywheel. Good. Think about pressing the heels down at the beginning of the drive on this one. Light.
Well, I didn't work it out, but
no work.
That was 17 strokes for me. Is that what it should be?
Should be 16.
Something like that. 16. Oh, I was rating too high.
Okay, guys. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Long and patient. Press it through. Press it through. And now stretch off the back end, holding the knees down on this one. Keep the elbows moving. Stretch.
Spine long, spine long.
Light.
Really sit up tall on these ones. Let the air in.
Ready again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Number 3. Nice long spine. Sitting up over the legs. Plenty of air into your lungs. Paddle light. Number 4 coming up. 3, 2, 1, go. Lever it. Big long press. And then feel that acceleration on the second half, bringing the handle to the body. Think about opening the hips in the middle of the drive, middle third. Paddle light.
Single digits now. Got the motor running. Let's make it count.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. Focus on suspension throughout this one. Feel the body weight connected between the handle and the feet. Keep the arms straight and long as you can through the drive. Only pulling with the arms at the end of the stroke. Paddle light. Ready to pick it up again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Long press. That's it. Moving the seat and the handle together in the first half. Then open the hips and drive beyond the seat to bring the handle back to the body. Drive back over the seat. Paddle light.
Over halfway on this next one.
Ready?
Sucking it in.
3, 2, 1, go. Commit and be patient. Long and press. Long press. Only on 24. Think about pressing the heels down right at the beginning of the connection. Paddle light.
Going well, guys.
Ready again?
Going well.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. Press it. Use the body weight. Good. Hanging off it. Hanging off it. Nice. Well done. Keep the elbows and the hands moving around the back end, but hold the legs down until you're back on the front of the seat. Light. Ready to go again. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Lever the flywheel. Keep the arms loose. Keep the arms straight as long as you can. And the shoulders down away from the ears. Are you looking up over the monitor? Feeding the chain into the slot. Yeah, good. Paddle light. Ready again. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Press it. Long and patient. Long and patient. Swing onto the front of the seat and then release the knees. Good. Getting lots of air into the lungs over the knees. Paddle light. Three more pieces to do in this first set. You're nearly there.
Always said Ian McNuff was a stretch the truth.
Ready again. 2, 1, go. Pick it up together. Press it through and stretch. Now stretch and relax. Relax. Free movement off the back end. Yeah, good. Think about being fluid with the flywheel. Paddle light. You just got 2 more to do in this set. If you can keep those splits consistent. Ready again? 2, 1, go. Lever. Push the legs down. Push the legs down. Just on 24. Now focus on that suspension between the handle and the footboard. The whole body pressing through the feet. Paddle light. Well done. 1 more piece to do and then we get 4 minutes rest. Big commitment on this last one. Get ready. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Press it through. Press with the legs. Press with the legs. Heels down at the catch. On this one. Heels down. Good. Use those big muscles in the back to accelerate the second half. Paddle light. Great job, everyone.
Paddle through.
Halfway.
Paddle through, guys. Don't drop the handle. Keep moving. Not so recently. I promised myself I'd never believe Ian McNuff again when he said something wasn't too hard. And I've done it again.
He's a very persuasive guy.
He's a very persuasive guy. Bless him. Oh, it's that intense enthusiasm that gets me every time. How can you say no to a guy like that? So
always smiling when he tells you to work harder.
Yeah. So that was easy, wasn't it? In brackets, not really. What's interesting, Aid, is by the last set, when you call go on the stopwatch, I had 6 seconds left on my recovery.
Yeah, it was the same with Ian the other week, that we got gradually more and more out of sync.
Yeah, I suspect you got a lot of people like that, and I wasn't really thinking about it. I didn't have room to think, but when I was thinking about it, it was because the timing for the 40 seconds doesn't start till you come forward on your stroke.
Right.
And actually connect. Or there might be a lag time that, Tom Middleton or somebody will know the answer to this, or maybe you do, Matt B. But anyway, that's what I put it down to. So probably a second off of every two sets. I was probably losing a bit more than a second to you.
Yeah.
So needless to say, for everybody who's having that problem, just ignore Adrian. He's just a cox. Everyone ignores coxes.
Yeah.
At some point, don't they, Adrian?
I can just shut up through this next piece if you want.
No, don't. It's good. I'm enjoying it. No, I didn't mean it in that sense.
Yeah, I was the same. I was about 10 seconds behind by the end.
But don't tell me you were splitting 137s, right?
In my dream.
Yeah. No, that's good. Adrian, those calls are really good because I optimistically thought I'd be able to say something, but actually you just can't. But that heels down, hang off it. And that second, third, so you want to be try to get to there before you start opening up. And by that point, you've reached sort of maximum acceleration you're going to get with your legs. Then everything has to speed up, get the handle speed going. Think of accelerating the hull, You got that good purchase and then boom.
Dixie, one more minute.
Okay, we're setting up. I'm setting up for. Surely, if I keep talking, the rest will last longer, won't it? Select workout. Re-row. I'm just going to do re-row. I don't even care. I'm re-rowing what I just did. 13 by 40, 20. And there it is.
That should work.
All right, Aid, over to you.
Okay, so we're going to be starting in exactly 30 seconds.
Aid, with this one, lots of calls on the chest up.
Yeah.
Feeling myself sort of sinking and
my
lungs have got to get the air in.
Okay. 15 seconds.
Go well, folks.
10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Try and keep it just on 24. See how fast you can drive to give you time on the recovery. You're looking up over the monitor, strong posture with a long spine at the front end. So you've got plenty of room to get lots of air into your lungs. Paddle light.
At this point, remember, folks, this is essentially a squats exercise. It should be really hurting in your legs. You're doing this properly. Think about getting the drive into the legs.
Ready to start again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's really embrace using this as an exercise for those quads and glutes, building up strength in the legs by pushing them hard. Keep it just at 24. Power strokes. Paddle light. Good job. Get ready for number 3, starting in 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Nice strong posture at the front end, over the legs. Think about putting your head into that slot that Dix has talked about before. Like the fairground cutouts, putting your head into the slot, feeding the handle and the chain into the slot of the machine. Long spine. Paddle light. Starting again in 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Patient and long. Patient and long. Okay, pressing the heels down on this one. Yeah, that's good. See what that does to the splits. Heels down. Keep on 24. Back end, sit still, keep the handle moving. Hands and elbows. Hands and elbows. Paddle light. Great job so far, everyone. Well done.
Come on, guys. This is where it gets dig deep, dig deep.
So commit together for this next one, starting in 4, 3, 2, 1, go. With everybody else, long press and steady, 24 only. Onto the feet gently, and then drive hard off the feet. Make sure you're getting full compression on this one. Handle right back towards the machine. Good. Yeah, keep it like that. Paddle light.
Next 5, they're the championship ones. Just think of it, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1.
Here we go, guys. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Pick it up together. Commit to it. And now long compression and press. And press. Good. Now we're going to open the backs on the second half as the handle comes over the knees. Opening the backs. Go. Good. Yeah, keep it up. Paddle light.
Ah.
Ready for the next one, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Press it through. Long. Yeah, keep that connection. Keep the discipline only on 24. Think about pressing the knees down and keeping the feet pressed on the footboard until you release the knees and the seat. That's it. Good. Paddle light.
Downhill now. Downhill now.
Starting the next one in 3, 2, 1, go. Press it off together. Try to feel the energy from everybody else working with you. You've got 30 people all doing the same work. Press through together. It's a 16-stroke burst at 24. Heads up. Filling the chest and the lungs with air. And hang off the handle. Paddle light. Only 5 more to do. You've broken the back of it. Like Dixie said, it's all downhill. Ready for the next one. Starting in 2, 1, go. Sorry.
Bit tall, breathe.
Lever it. Lever it. Now commit. Commit. That's it. Push those legs. I want you feeling the quads and the thighs screaming at you. You're going to push them harder. That's it. Building some strength in those legs. Good. Paddle light. Well done. 4 more pieces. 4 times 16 strokes. We're nearly there. Ready for the next one. Starting in 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Now make this one count. Each stroke, 16 of them. Long and hard. Commit and believe you can get through this. Today's the day. Good. Think about a long spine now. Good posture. Good posture. Strong. Well done. Paddle light. Just going through the motions. You've got 3 more pieces to do. You're nearly there. Now you've got to really commit to pushing on through each of these next ones. Next one starting now. Press it off. Press it off. Pushing the heels down. That's it. Now stretch. Stretch. And be patient. Think about relaxing on the recovery. That's it. Then press again. Last 10 seconds of this one. Well done. Paddle light. Great job. We've got 2 more to go.
Come on, everyone. Come on.
Here we go. Starting this next one in 3, 2, 1, go. Now commit to it, hang off it. Finish it. Finish it. Yeah, now stretch. And be patient. Only on 24. Good. Now let's really press. Here we go on this one. Yes. Yes. 10 more seconds. See what you can get that split down to. Paddle light. Good job. One more to go. Last one. Let's make this the best of the lot.
Come on, everyone. Come on.
Here we go. Starting in 2, 1, go.
Go, go, go.
16 strokes. You are halfway through this one now, so now let's really press on with the legs. Yes. And the backs. There. Yes. On the legs now. Down. Keep the legs moving. Last thing you're going to want to do, but just go through the motions.
Oh, man.
Well done, Dixie. Great.
Oh, well done, everyone else.
Great leading. No, well done, everybody, basically.
That's not an easy session. I mean, the beauty of it is, to me, no single one of those is hard. Taken collectively. Oh, man. That's a workout I never would have done by myself. Thanks, Zoom Ergos. I think you should win an award at the British Rowing Indoor something or others. Seriously, I don't know you guys. How many ergos have you said you were going to do by yourself and just something's come up and you haven't done it? That's one of the great things about this session, these sessions. Thanks, Aid. How are we feeling out there?
Yeah, good, really good.
Well, you didn't work hard enough.
Well, I did. I got
no, I'm kidding. Good, that's great. It's great.
I got a load of split, actually, amazingly.
Thank you.
Is that you, Kings? Of course it is. Mate, that doesn't surprise me. You're a machine. I'm going to go through the 500 here. No, thank you. Really, thank you, guys. It's an absolute pleasure doing this.
Well, thank you very much. Zoom Ergos, especially this session, is just inspirational. It's brilliant. You can almost hang your week on it.
Well, that is great news. I'm wanting to assure everybody if that's paid advertising, I didn't pay anything for it. So, no, thank you very much. Tell your friends. It's good fun. The more the merrier too.
Well, I have.
But look, we also love to get, shall I say, constructive feedback. So, you know, if you've got anything you want to work on or you didn't like, I'm not saying we'll necessarily do it, but we'll certainly listen to it. And we really do want to hear that because every week before we do this, there's a bit of chat amongst these guys about, okay, what worked, what didn't work. And it's always good to hear that. So please encourage you by whatever means of social media to get messages to us about what you like and what you don't like, and what you like more of or less of or whatever. Really, so please do that.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question.
Fire away.
at the finish in the boat, is there a pause?
Oh,
Okay, I'm going to let somebody I'm going to let some of the reasonably well-credentialed rowers on this call answer that. You know who you are.
Well, it's a big bone of contention at the moment.
Yeah, it always will be. I think that the only thing that really matters is that everybody in the boat is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you decide that there is going to be a pause, then everybody's got to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very useful training exercise. It really is a bit like a drill.
Yeah.
The pause will disappear once the rate comes up above the mid-20s.
Yeah.
But just as a way of paddling at 18 or 20 with that pause, it defines the end of the stroke and it gives you a sort of point of reference where you can begin the next stroke. It's a bit like doing continuous roll-ups.
Right.
And as an exercise, it's actually very useful to get the crew together. But as I said,
you know, because I've had this debate before with other people too. One thing that I've always sort of maintained is it's not actually a pause. Don't think of it as a stop. I mean, you never want to think of any point in your stroke where you're actually stopping. So yeah, you maybe instead of, you know, I learned to row it was hands away, you know, out of the puddle and out of trouble. So I as a default have very quick hands, and what this is just sort of slowing it there and a point of reference. So it's not really a pause so much as a kind of make sure we're all there and then slow. On the other counter, I've heard people say that if you drew Jin, who is one of my fellow countrymen, who is by all accounts and you know pretty extraordinary rower, it works for him. But if you're not Drew Jin, it's hard to make boats go faster doing that. I personally think it works really nicely, actually. So I'm a bit of a fan. But hey, do you agree on that? It's not a pause, or do you dispute that?
I think there can be a misunderstanding of exactly what is meant by the pause. If you really get into pedantry over it, you could argue that you are pausing the body while you are moving the handle away from the body. So it gives you an opportunity to extend the arms before you move the body.
Well, see, I've never knowingly been out-pedanted by anybody. So
the sequencing.
So what it is you're pausing there, but that's still going.
Yeah.
You're not doing that.
Right.
You're doing that. So it's sequencing. It's more distinct sequencing.
Uh-huh.
And by so doing, everybody in the crew, I'm the bow side, you're there, you know, together. So it's a really good point of reference.
Yeah.
So Gillian, somebody in the chat, I think Gillian's saying there's some great videos of the Kiwi 8 from this year online on, I think probably YouTube, where you can see, and there's some coach talking about why that physics works. I think she's right. The one thing I'd add is I think quite a lot of crews get it wrong by forgetting the fact that what you then do is move with the boat. So I see quite a lot of crews sitting still at the finish, and then all the body weight comes straight onto the feet, and you're slowing the boat down. So I think the thing to watch out for is making sure that you then let the knees break with the boat rather than kind of crash up the slide and slow the boat down. So I think quite a lot of the less experienced crews risk doing that. Anyway, that's enough.
That's a really good, if you get somebody to video you're doing rowing, if you're lucky enough, get some video of the bow ball. And if the bow ball's bouncing up and down, something's stopping. You want to just, anyway. Hopefully that answers your question. Thanks, Matt. And Gillian, because Kiwi 8, God knows, Kiwis are good at sport. Don't you hate that? I personally hate that. Right. Is it time to check out? It's got to be time to check out, isn't it?
Nearly, yeah. 7 minutes long. So Lucy's taking over in 3 minutes.
Okay.
See you
Lucy,
next week.
thanks. Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Absolute pleasure. See you soon.
Thank you very much.
Stay on for Lucy if you can. See you soon. Thanks, Aid.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Bye, guys.
Thanks ever so much. Cheers, thanks.
I hope Lucy's there ready to pick up the baton. I'm sure
Yep.
There we go.
I'm all good to go. I was just loving the pause or not to pause question. And I'm glad that it's reverberating around every single rowing club in the country.
Well, it's interesting, actually, talking to Bobby Thatcher a little while ago, his best St. Paul's 8, everybody was saying, you know, they pause a lot in paddling and then it disappears when they're racing. So this is the 8 that won Henley 2 or 3 years ago. And Bobby actually said, no, they're not pausing at all. It just looks like they are. They sit still, but if you look closely at the handle, it doesn't actually stop moving, which is basically pretty much what Dixie was saying as well.
Yeah, I was talking to Gwyn Batten about it recently, actually, and what she was saying was because she coaches over at Latimer, and she was saying that basically you need to be able to get your weight onto your toes. That's the most important thing coming off back stops. And actually, if you pause there too long, you can't actually then get your weight back onto your toes. But I quite like David's analogy about the bow ball and whether the bow ball dips, because of course, if you pause at the finish, you're going to bottom the boat. The boat's going to bomb into the water, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think your description of pausing the body and moving the hands is really good. We can all do with better sequencing, let's face it.
Yeah. Right. Okay, Lucy, I'm handing over to you. It's all yours.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks, Adrian. Great discussion. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Hi, everybody. Cool. We've got like double from last week. That's good, isn't it? So this week we're going to continue with the work that we've been doing, where we stretch one side and we activate the other, and we activate one of the sides so that provides all our balance, which means that we can optimize stretching on the other side. We'll continue to do the good work that we've been doing on the glute bridging and the progressing of the glute bridging, and then we'll just finish off with a couple of more hamstring stretches at the end. So we're going to start as normal on the floor on our backs. So just lying flat on your back. Just take some deep breaths. We're just going to check that you're equally weighted right to left, and that you've got equal weight through your touch points, so your heels, your bum and your shoulders. And when you come to your shoulders, squeeze your shoulder blades together and squash your chin down. And then you're just going to take some deep breaths. So nice deep breath in, feel the chest lift up. And then as you breathe out, just allowing yourself to sink into the floor or the mat. And really this is about bringing the heart rate down, and it's about allowing yourself permission to relax. In your next exhalation, just bring that left knee to your chest. And then we're going to stretch the left side, so we're going to activate the right. So point your toe on the right side, point your toes to the ceiling, push your heel to the opposite wall, and squash the floor down with the back of your knee. And if you can do that by activating the glutes on the right, excellent. And then that will allow us to stretch the left. So you can take a nice deep breath in, feeling the chest lift up, and then as you breathe out, flatten your back off into the mat and allow your knee to come to you. Just make sure that you maintain your shoulder blades squeezed, your chin squashed down. And just clasp your hands together behind the back of your left thigh and straighten your leg up in the air. Take a minute just to check you're active on the right. Check your shoulder blades are squeezed and your chin squashed down. And then as you breathe in, just push your thigh into your hands. And as you breathe out, just push up through the heel to the ceiling. Just allowing that right side to keep you stable. And the left side to relax and stretch. Relax, bend your knee, bring it back to your chest. Just check your right leg, check your chin and check your shoulders. And then take some deep breaths. Just as you breathe out, letting go and just letting that knee come to you. And stretch your right arm out to the side, reaching out through the right middle finger. And then we're going to do your version of half happy baby. So you can grab behind the back of the thigh, the shin, or if you can reach the outside of your left foot. And keep that right side active, so it gives you your balance. And take a deep breath in, draw that breath through the right middle finger, along the right arm to the center of the chest. Hold for 2. And then as you breathe out into the back of the left thigh. And allow your knee to come closer to the floor beside your chest. Relax and draw your knee back to your chest. Just check your positioning, so check your right leg, shoulder blades and your chin. Take a couple of deep breaths. Then bend your knee, your right knee, and plant your foot on the floor. I just want you to feel all 4 corners of your foot in contact with the ground. And just push down through the foot enough to resist the ground coming back at you. So that you can, quite literally, we're grounding that right foot so that we can keep that right leg active. And the left ankle crosses over the top of the right knee. Extend the right arm above your head. And then push down with the palm of your left hand on the inside of your left thigh. And we're going to take a deep breath in, draw the breath to the center of the chest, hold for 2, and then as you breathe out, push up through the right middle finger, push down through the left hand, which will activate the posterior chain. And we're just going to give a little bit of gapping to that left hip joint. So we call that in physio terms distraction. We're just trying to create a bit of space between the ball and the socket to decompress that hip joint on the left. Just make sure you're pushing your lower back into the mat. And I'm just checking the position of my chin because I tend to extend my neck. And relax your arms. You've got 3 choices here. You can stay in this position to stretch the left glute. You can grab behind the back of your right thigh and draw your right leg towards you, or you can extend that right leg up in the air. Just check your positioning and make sure that your right knee is pointing straight up at the ceiling and that you haven't rocked over to the left. Check your neck position and your shoulder position. And then take a deep breath in, holding that breath in the center of the chest for a count of 2. And then as you breathe out, imagine breathing into that left glute. And let go of your hands, plant your foot back on the mat. Just think about grounding that right foot again. No, just squeeze your shoulder blades together and stretch your arms out to the side. And then from that position, just let your right knee fall out to the side. And then we're going to take a deep breath in, drawing the breath through both middle fingers to the center of the chest. Hold for 2. And then as you breathe out, breathing out through the left shoulder, down the left side, into the left hip, along the left thigh, and out through the knee. looking for a wave of relaxation to follow the breath. Just allow yourself to give into it, give into the gravity, give into the stretch. This is about having the confidence to allow your body to let go as you relax. Then unwind and stretch out into our starting position. The legs out straight, arms by your side. And you might now feel that your left leg feels slightly longer than the right, where we've stretched out that left hip. Just take a couple of breaths. Just check you're centered on your mat. And then draw that right knee to your chest. So now we're going to stretch the right. So we're going to activate the left. So on the left side, point your toes to the ceiling, push your heel to the opposite wall, and squash the mat down with the back of your knee. And then we're going to stretch the right. So take a nice deep breath in, hold, and then as you breathe out, flatten your back off into the mat and let the knee come towards your chest. Just check that you've squashed your shoulder blades together and squashed your chin down. Take a couple of deep breaths. Such a nice feeling when you just feel the muscles giving into the stretch. And let's grab behind the back of your right thigh and stretch that right leg up into the air. Just check your left leg's active, shoulder blades are squeezed and your chin squashed down. And then as you breathe in, push your thigh into your hands. And as you breathe out, push the heel to the ceiling on the right. Relax and draw that knee back to the chest. Check your left leg's active. Check your chin and your shoulder positions. And then just take a couple of deep breaths here. Just giving yourself permission to relax into the stretch. Take your left arm, push your left arm out to the side, pushing out through that middle finger, and your version of happy baby on the right. So behind the thigh, the shin, or if you can manage it, the outside of the right foot. And then keep that left side active. And then you're going to draw the breath in through the left and middle finger along the arm to the center of the chest. Hold for 2. And as you breathe out, breathing out into the back of the right thigh and allowing the knee to come closer to the ground beside your chest. Then relax and draw that knee to the chest again. Check your positioning. Check the left side's active. Then take a couple of relaxing breaths here. And bend the left knee and plant the foot on the ground. Checking that all 4 corners of your foot are in contact with the ground and that you're just putting enough pressure through the foot to resist the earth coming back at you. And then cross the right ankle over the top of the left knee. Extend the left arm above your head, and then the palm of the right hand comes to the inside of the right knee or thigh. And then as you breathe in, draw that breath to the center of the chest. And then as you breathe out, push up through the left middle finger and down through the palm of the right hand. See if you can get some distraction or some gapping on that right hip joint. I'm just rechecking things like my neck position, and I'm just checking that my left foot stays grounded. And then I'm just trying to get that right hip to give a little bit. Relax the arms. And same three choices as before. You can stay in this position. You can grab behind the back of the left thigh. And finally, you can stretch that left leg up in the air, whichever works for you. Just make sure you check your left knees pointing straight up at the ceiling and that your chin is squashed down. And then take a deep breath in. Hold that breath for 2. And then as you breathe out, just breathing into that right glute. Also trying to flatten your back off into the mat. Again, with all of these stretches, just go to the stretch, the outer limits of the stretch, rather than into any pain. Really important that you move with your breath and you go with the stretch of your muscles. Really listening to our bodies, even as we stretch. And plant that foot back on the floor. You'll know what I mean now by grounding it. And then we're going to stretch the arms out to the side, reaching out through the middle fingers, squeeze the shoulder blades and squash the chin down. And then you're ready to let the leg fall out to the left. And then, as before, draw the breath through the middle fingers to the center of the chest. Hold for 2. And then breathe out through the right shoulder, down through the right side, into the right hip, and out through the knee. Again, looking for that wave of relaxation, allowing yourself to sink into the stretch. Then come back to the center and then move, stretch out into our starting position. Just recenter yourself on the mat. And then take both knees to your chest. And then one of my favorite bits, rock from side to side. Do small circles with your knees. Just get a nice massage of your back against the floor. It's like free physio, this, I always think. And then we're going to move into our glute bridge set, which will be 3 glute bridges, and they accumulate. So we start with just a static hold. We then go into glute bridge marching, and then finally we do some unilateral or one-sided holds. So plant your feet on the mat. Bring your heels as close as you can to switch off your hamstrings. We're going to do 3 pelvic tilts, 1, 2, and then on the third one, push up into glute bridge. And we're going to hold there for 10. So just take your thumbs, stick them in your bum, make sure your glutes are nice and active. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lower the bum to the floor, bring the knees to the chest. And then we're going to do your version of happy baby. So whether that's behind the thigh, the ankles, the shins or behind, the outside of the feet. And take a couple of deep breaths here. Then replant your feet on the mat. We'll do our 3 pelvic tilts. 1, 2, 3, up into glute bridge. And then you can join me with some marching if you feel up to it. So we're going to do 1 leg at a time. 1, 2, keep those hips nice and stable. 3, and keep them elevated, nice and high. 4, and 5. Lower the bum to the floor, bring the knees to the chest, and then into happy baby. And then take some nice deep breaths in this position. So this time, as you breathe out, flatten your back off into the mat. Bring those knees down beside your chest. And replant your feet on the floor. We're going to do our 3 tilts. 1, 2, 3, up into glute bridge. And this time we're going to do single leg holds. So we're going to straighten the left leg and hold for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to do the right leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then bum to the floor, knees to the chest, and into your happy baby. Couple of nice deep breaths here. Just stretching the hips out after doing glute bridge. Then let go of your hands, cross your ankles, re-grab the outside of your feet, and rock and roll up into a sitting position. That's it, well done everybody. And then from here, we're just going to stretch our legs out in front. Just make sure that when you do this, that you bring your thigh back so you feel as if you're sucking the ball into the socket. So that when we hinge, we're going to hinge from the hips. And then bring the right sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Then reach up into the air, drop your hands so that they're level with the mat, and then hinge forward from the hips and then drop the hands. And this time, with our breath, as we breathe in, we're going to lift up. So we're going to extend through the lower back. And then as we breathe out, we're going to hinge a bit further forward. And relax. I'm going to swap legs. So this time, sole of the left foot comes to the inside of the right thigh. We're going to stretch up into the air. So reach right up, drop the arms so they're parallel with the mat, hinge from the hips, and then drop the hands. I always do it that way to make sure that I'm hinging from the hips. Otherwise, I'll be stretching from my upper back. And again, as you breathe in, just feeling yourself stretching up. And as you breathe out, hinging from the hips. Relax both legs out in front of you. Then we're going to come into a cross-leg seated position. And then whichever is your lower leg, arm goes up in the air. Then behind your back and behind the opposite glute, other arm up in the air, then twist round and you should end up in happy baby. Not in happy baby, downward dog. If you ended up in happy baby, you've done something totally wrong. And then from there, we're just going to pedal the feet. So let's just stretch out our calves. So one and then the other. Those calves a good stretch. And then walk back up and come up into a standing position. Well done, everybody. Good stretching session. Well done.